Greetings, programs. It's from Tron.
You gonna see Tron 3? Are you excited? How excited are you, Stuart?
I haven't even seen the trailer for it yet.
There's
I've
like,
heard
like
about it,
four
but
trailers. They've done lots of like pre-trailers. Right, so what
I
do you
haven't
guys think
seen
of the
any of
Tron
them.
3 trailer? Let us know in the comments below. Out of 10. What's your... Oh, yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go. Matthew started us off with computer begin program. Thank you.
Mmm.
And Dan Ben, yes, I did, and you're gonna have to wait until Friday to get my thoughts on it on the Captain Foley
Oh.
personal channel.
Oh, I don't even know what he's on about. Oh. Oh.
Oh, leaked pictures of the Lego Enterprise D. Yeah,
How real in their leakedness?
yeah, pretty solid. There's a few places, a few Lego insiders that have been sharing stuff. So,
How does it look?
I mean, it looks okay. It looks good. The bottom of the saucer, like I'll go into it in my
Yeah, no, yeah,
video,
sure.
but it could stand for improvement. I've seen a bunch of mock builds, which is
Mm-hmm.
make
Mm-hmm.
uh, make man creation, which are better in my opinion over the years.
Well, they've got to
But
make it work budget-wise or whatever.
yeah, and this is also a size thing. I'm not sure. Well, the other ones are different sizes, so.
Well, it's like they
But
could.
yes,
It's like they could, sell just the bridge and make that a model, right? And make it be
they
bigger.
will.
Well, that's what I mean. It's it
Yeah,
would be nice.
that'd be a whole
Actually,
lot talking about things they could do.
the thing is, they've had such a good rep of Star Wars, so it's like it should be insane with all color, with like custom, not Aztecing, but like they should get the phaser strips in, they should get the CS thrusters. It should all be there. You want to hit the ground running, right? So they'd better.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, no video coming out about that on
I will
Friday.
watch that. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So
Filmed it today,
there
edited
we go.
today.
What are we doing
Yeah.
today?
Oh, today we're going to be talking about holodecks, holodeck technology. Does it work? Fitting in the timeline? Did they break canon? Does it work? Can it work? What? Yep. That's what we're doing. A lot of people have been saying a lot of things online about this, and some pros or some for it, some against it. And I think we're somewhere very much in the middle.
It's funny. I feel like the discourse came and then went, if that makes sense. Like we
Yes.
watched a video yesterday on it. Shockingly few views. I love the thumbnail. It's a really good discussion. And yeah, I mean more than Disruptor last week. But I was like, oh, is that really? Because I would have thought there'd be more of a interest. But I guess maybe once people saw it, they couldn't be angry anymore, and therefore the conceptual thoughts were gone.
Hmm.
That's why we often say, you can't. Well, you can. You're just silly. You can't really blag on something until you've watched it. Once you've watched
Yeah.
it, if the is that it? Oh, okay, potentially.
Yeah, I think too. They did a good enough job with it that I think a lot of people when they see videos, I'm very reticent to like click on certain videos because I don't want to get angry. And a lot of people are like, I've been fine with it. It works. So I don't want to watch any videos on it that'll be like, this is not appropriate for the timeline. Da 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 da.
Which I've
So
seen one or two. Yeah, I'm just like,
yeah,
what are they gonna? Oh, that. Okay, done.
yeah. So I don't know if that has something to do with it, but yeah, I'm very hesitant to watch a lot of
But
videos
people
that I
know we're
see.
more balanced and fact based. You'd like to think.
Some people do.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people think we're very, yeah, but that's a whole other conversation.
All right,
But yes, we try to be.
I'm starting a poll and gonna share so at the same time. So I'll see you in a minute.
Indeed. Hit that like button, guys. There's 14 of you here and 10 likes. Get those likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell icon so you get notified when we do lives and edited content and talk about this kind of cool stuff. And yeah, I look forward to seeing our subscribers go up as a result. So subscribe, notify, like, join. Consider joining. There's a join button down there on YouTube, or you can head on over to
What would you
Patreon/Trekyards.
say to
That's another way for us or for you to help us on a monthly basis. And yeah, during these lives, super chat in your thoughts, feelings, comments, questions, concerns, arguments, whatever you want. We do address them all. So if you super chat in, we do cover them for sure. And just have a good time hanging out with other Trek fans, Trekkies, Trekyardians of the galaxy. That's us. Um, yeah, do the things. Also, another way to help us out is there are links in the description of every video for the Teespring and the TeePublic store. Go click those, check them out. There's a lot of really cool stuff there, not just Trekyards related merchandise, but other stuff. And add some stuff to your cart. Get pick up some cool stuff. But yeah, I do have a few issues with the holodeck, which we'll get into. But overall, I think they did a very good job of making it fit and the explanations for it. So, but we'll get into that discussion because that's what this is all about. And we want to hear other thoughts, other comments, and other, opinions on this. So that's what you guys are here for. And if you can support the channel while doing so by super chatting in, like Ray Ricks just did, thank you, Ray. That's very much appreciated because it does help us out and supports us immensely to continue doing what we do here. And we're here. We've been here for 11 years. We're going to be here for another 11 years, whether you like it or not. So hopefully you like it and hopefully you join us. But yeah, we will get to your super chat in just a second, Ray, as soon as Sam is done. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, we'll get into some of these comments. There's some good ones here. So, Neil Hammersmith, man. Anyway, look, he's back. And we got a super chat right away from Ray Ricks.
Good to see you.
£10. I don't have an issue with early holodeck tech. It had to come from somewhere. But again, we have issues with Kurtzman era Trek not scaling the look of tech across the timeline. Shouldn't look like TNG. I guess sticking points is the visual of it. So,
Ray, are you in America? Are you Vegasing?
Let us know.
Or are you in some other very interesting foreign country, as we learned that you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's been your? Well, did you read the poll first of all?
I have not yet.
Oh, really?
I was waiting for you.
Thank you.
What did you think of the holodeck in Strange New Worlds? Works great. It's okay. Didn't like it. Nope. Canon break.
Yeah. I wanted to give the extreme version as well, so people could pick and choose. Yeah. So what do you think the discourse has been that you've seen? Because obviously we do a boat ton of content on the day, and I'll sit there and edit it for a couple of days and see how people feel. You have your interaction with the people, the audience, and then the videos. What do you think the vibe has been from the overall community?
It's for me, I think it's very median. Like it's very split. It's either you're fine with it or you're not. There are a few people that kind of waggle in the middle,
right?
But I think there's more of well, it might not be 50-50. There's more of an acceptance for the way they did it, I think. But then you got the diehards that just turn off their brain instantly and go, no, it doesn't work, done. Which, when we saw the trailer, I was kind of like, come on, guys. And we came up with a lot of possible explanations as to why they might have it.
It had to be a future flashback forward because anyway, it made sense. I gave them something. I gave them benefit of the doubt, and they let me down on that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think the overall conversation is kind of fallen in the middle, where it's like, I think they did a good enough job with it. Doesn't really break canon for me. It's explained well, but there are a few niggles here and there that I have issues with, like the appearance, also like dedicating a section of the Enterprise to this thing, which is a pretty big section. As we talked about, we both kind of said it would make sense to be in a smaller room. Have it visually different, like goes nowhere, does nothing, things on the ceiling or something. Even a white room with like blue holodeck grid or something to show. I mean, Star Trek Continues had one very early on.
One sequence, pretty much.
Yeah, and when they turned it off, it looked TOS. Like they did a really good job of making it feel like the same tech but older. So, yeah.
Oh, right. Hopefully see you there then. That's great.
What are you seeing? What are you seeing online as far as opinions?
Well, like I say, a lack of interest in our video, which show people don't necessarily, now it's out, the debate's done.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, a lot of mid. I think it's hard to get to a pissy because they also killed it at the end, kind of, which helps. If they left it, oh, we'll keep tweaking it aboard ship, then you'd be like, but to have it be such a closed loop, at least in feeling,
Mm.
helps your brain. I guess, I mean, there's probably got to be some examples. I mean, I don't know if you know any examples. Let's go with guns, right? Because guns have had a long life, where like someone invented a gun before the revolver that was actually better, and then it was so good at what it did, but then something happened that either it was stopped, cancelled, or lost. Where just
Yeah.
because it's not as if there's a linear curve of improvement. Like some things happen just to jump the scale. So there might have been something designed in our real
Yeah.
history that is actually genuinely better, and then it's just stopped. So if this is them saying we did have the tech, we did have the expertise earlier,
Yeah.
it was although very flawed, but the technicality was there, and then because of
Yeah.
events, it pushed it back in a way that was like, yeah, we really pushed it back. Then I'd be like, okay, there's something else happening there. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know
Well,
anything in real life where that's
oh yeah, I was just
okay?
going to bring up two actually. There's
Oh,
two really good
brilliant,
instances of that.
brilliant.
Like when Betamax came out and VHS. Betamax was
Oh
smaller,
yeah.
crisper
Oh,
image,
that's
better
interesting.
sound quality, a little bit more expensive, but VHS took off and drowned Betamax. Same thing with Blu-ray and HD DVD. HD DVD had a lot of leg up on Blu-ray for certain things. Blu-ray won that race for some reason, even though the other tech is actually more involved. But because it's more involved, it means higher prices, which means less people more interested in it. Plus, the marketing aspect of things is very important in that regard as well. So,
Man, I love that. That is such a salient point. That's
yeah,
really smart because the fact is, if the Admiralty is seeing, okay, we've got this tech. If we pull everything we've got, it works.
yeah,
And I would guess that the way they're framing the narrative, like even with very few people, like I guess like I can imagine that them as the interaction is more complicated, it gets more processing power. So even with one person you're interacting with, there's only a certain amount of time before it goes too much. So I could see that being, building up the program, right? So I could buy that. So the admiral say, in theory, this works, and we can use it for short missions, like things at home. We have one in our second living room. Starfleet Cat we all play games in, right? Cool. They have it, but they say, but we still need this thing for deep space exploration. Okay, let's take the basic tech, let's pare it down under half, like a third of what it's capable of. We take out
mhm,
because they probably aware that they can't even let people generate people because it'll potentially cause. I mean, they were lucky they didn't die. One ship loss is too much if it's unnecessary. So they take out the ability for the program to create people, pure landscapes, takes out all the risk, and because they need to factor it into all sorts of ships, including like a Saladin or something which is smaller, they pare down the tech so it's smaller as well. Although the room in TS is still giant, but whatever. And so they release, as you say, a version which is just what we see in TAS, which makes sense because they need something that works. They can work on different ships, and that can also work on a ship that has lower power output as well, because Enterprise
mhm.
is not the standard. So they're releasing an inferior technology, but actually fucking works. Love that. Ah, because yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Why would HD DVD? Yeah, whatever. Then there's also
It's all about accessibility too.
I don't know if they do. I know because of Linus Tech Tips. There's actually a HD of VHS at one point. There's like
Yeah,
10 movies, and apparently it looks amazing because it's like an analog signal, so it's better than digital. Like if you side by side it, the grain's better. I mean, like percentage wise, but like, and this was
yeah,
5 6 years early, so I had that taken off. Like it was better than DVD, but it was very expensive. I think they said like you could buy a HD VHS player for like 3K back in the day, like 2K, no,
yeah,
like over 1,000. A DVD player was like 400, and DVDs were cheaper. So it was like, why would you, right? Imagine paying like
yeah,
$90 for a HD VHS just to watch it early, versus a
yeah,
$25 DVD. So yeah, that's absolutely wow. That's a really
yeah.
boy. I wish
And
they
you got
said that. You
yeah,
know,
and you gotta
wow,
remember
that's
too
genius.
that even the Equinox didn't have a goddamn holodeck because it was such a small ship.
That's an
So
interesting point. Well, okay. This might sound like a stupid question, but what ships have we even seen holodecks on? What are the because we assume everything, but Equinox is far newer than D. What ships are confirmed holodeck? Because maybe not everything is. That's really interesting.
Enterprise D and Enterprise E for sure. So the big boys. I don't know if there are any others, to be fair.
That's what I mean.
Enterprise D was so big, with families aboard, it had a few holodecks,
But it had
which
a
you would assume
lot of
would be
power.
different sizes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's super interesting. Because you've also got, obviously DS9 had it, but that was a hollow
Oh,
suite.
sweets.
And I
Yeah.
mean, that a bigger power generator than average ship, I would assume. Just because I don't think Atlassians care. F it, big
Yeah.
power generator. Voyager, of
Well, Devo
course.
says the Protostar had one. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, we also had like 3 warp cores, and it had loads of weird stuff, right? I'm sure
yeah.
Voyager A did because they tested, but Voyager A fine. Prometheus had hollow emitters, so it'd have to have a holodeck. That's only logical, right? You
Yeah.
wouldn't have one without the other. Raven, I wouldn't assume would have. Relatively did, but that's again a moot point. I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm
I
thinking of.
mean,
Defiant
it's
didn't,
well, that's because it was geared for a specific purpose, right?
but that's two classes of ship that are very distinct in role. But those are two ends of a spectrum. Both are relatively. One's brand new, one's not, and they could.
Yeah.
I mean, if you, well, it's not a priority, but if you valued people's sanity, then having them like Valiant, if that was in deep lines, be able to walk into a forest and chill out on the beach would be quite nice, but chose not to. Wow, yeah. That's super interesting. Maybe it's just like the biggest ships, and maybe it really is a power. Maybe the power, and maybe we're so obliviously unself-aware that the galaxy is a special craft. It was able
Yes.
to do it because it was absolutely over the top. Oh, that's super interesting.
Benjamin Stone asked, did the refitted Mirandas have holodecks in the D era? Probably not. I mean, that's older tech that's been upgraded. They might, like, I have no problem with these smaller ships having a smaller holodeck. To walk into a big holodeck on the D, like it's huge, that's a lot of room. That's a lot of investment in space as well as power. But to have like a, a small room size one, a closet size one, because it's a holodeck, so you can basically walk in place with force fields and stuff. So you don't really need a big room unless you have multiple people with you. So I have no problem with something small being installed on older ships like the Miranda, but I wouldn't expect it
Why don't you
necessarily.
catch up with Super Chat so we can jump back in? Because that's a really
Yeah,
interesting,
yeah.
interesting position.
Benjamin Stone, 10 pounds. Thank you. I'm all in on this just for the failed Riker maneuver in the credits. Yeah, that was great. Sean O'Sullivan, €2. Don't like Kurtzman, coarse, rough, and gets everywhere. Yes, well, we know. You keep saying that.
It's never not funny.
Yep. Olivia, $5. Stuart, say computer and program. I'm hoping I can prove a fan theory that involves Sam.
I don't think he can though. I think he's just unable to.
Okay, well, we can try it like for reals, I guess. Computer and program.
See, I was gonna turn my monitors off, but that doesn't it's not gonna do anything for everyone else, so it's no point. Eh, 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 eh. I mean, I can do, I can do this and this, and it's Okay, what? Okay, I also want. Okay, how's it look with no lights? Okay, I'm now. Stuart, how's it look? Because I'm pitch black.
You're like, well, I saw a ghost for a second.
Oh,
Now I can sort of see half of your face, kind of.
it's just
There you go.
my lock screen.
That's spooky.
It is weird just to hear you in a void of black. It's quite weird actually. And then, okay, let's do it like this. All right. Is this the best track as I've looked?
Yes, this is emergency power Trekyards. I should go turn off my lights too.
Oh no.
Okay, I'm gonna do that just because I want to see.
Okay, well, turns out we all of our power from the holodeck was used, so we. I have no idea how that looked, of course.
Mine's more mood lighting though.
It is. Well, it is. So now you got to turn the monitors
So,
off. So yeah, both monitors. I know you can't see it then, but you can scroll back. Okay.
No, I don't want to.
Okay.
I'm scared.
It was a bit weird, I'll be honest. Alright, now I can go back and look at how I looked, because I don't know. Anyway, super chat, your thoughts, comments, and questions, guys. Support us in our endeavor on the channel. Oh wow, that is very dramatic, isn't it? Goodness.
That's the other thing too. Like,
yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. Was it ship in a bottle? No, booby trap. Booby trap.
Mm-hmm.
With where they're on the holodeck trying to figure out how to get out of this asteroid field. Low on power. Turn off all the holodecks. We need all the power. And then it's like, Captain, I need the holodeck. And then it fires back up. It would be cool if it was the background was pixely.
Yeah.
She was there beside him,
Yeah.
helping him. That's fine. And when
Yeah.
they turned to look at the schematic or something behind them, it like came into focus like very slowly. So it was like
Yeah.
low power mode on the holodeck. That would have been cool to see.
Yeah. Or
But
like you only use what you need, and so it all kind of like just isn't visible in the same way. That's a fair point. Yeah. How much power is that really using? Enough to
imagine quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, K70. What the F is this? Holodeck in this era? Hitman build you miss. Lots. Ah.
Okay, 70, you should know. They had an environmental simulator in the animated series.
Yes. Yes. And what was it? Yeah, and Deborah, the Cerritos had holodecks. But Cerritos is actually a really big ship. Little do you know, it's actually a giant craft. It's nowhere small, you know. If you're looking at scale of ship, and that warp core, real big.
Yeah,
big. That room is real big.
But if you were making a list of ships that you didn't think have holodecks, you'd think like the low end California class that were designed for second contact and for like engineering practices.
Oh, I thought one
wouldn't.
Was a holodeck.
What?
A holoship.
Dun dun dun.
Sorry, I just had to jump in there. Sorry, give it
but you know, you would initially kind of say maybe not because it's a lower end ship, but at the same time, second contact, super important. You could bring up people from the planet to say, this is what you can look forward to. This is a planet, whatever. You could show them stuff. Engineering wise, you would need it for solving engineering problems. So then the Cerritos argument becomes, yeah, of course it would have one. So, and you would just assume all newer ships would. And I did, but then, like I said, the Nova class, the Equinox didn't because of its size.
And it wasn't exactly old. Like it wasn't new, but it wasn't old. And this is, I know a lot of this stuff is just it wasn't in the story, right? Like we didn't see a Nebula class one, so therefore there's no technical evidence as Nebula class one. Yeah, well, yes, but you know, probably would have had one. Yeah. And that's the technicality of that. Yes, technically, but it's worth noting, you know, and of course, Defiant and Nova being the distinct, they obviously don't. We know they don't. Because what is the holodeck for? If we take this as canon, right? And if we take TS as canon, then holodecks are there as a reason to escape, right? On missions. Well, most ships do short missions whereby they'll probably go to planets quite often, or star bases where there's going to be dedicated facilities that are either real or whatever. So if there's probably some sort of psych number of like a human can go 19 days without seeing grass, like, you know, something like, you know what I mean? I'm sure it's more than that, but something direct like that, whereby the math was done 100 years ago of like, well, these ships are always going to be in some sort of something or close enough that it's not a problem. And so only the big ships, only the ships that are designed for big or a big enough crew where you need an ability to get away from people, which could also be justifiable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we see Voyager, which is a much smaller ship than D, just the idea of having a recreational playground where the crew can be in as a group. That again makes a lot of sense. You know, if you can put 30 crew members in one holodeck and they are sane for an afternoon, that resets the bar, right?
Yeah.
So it might be just necessity, because yeah, anything smaller than an ambassador, say, the room size and therefore the dedicated power feeds, which are going to be huge, and the power core, all that stuff is just to take raw space out of the hull. So it might be a case of almost nothing does have a holodeck because it's just too not worth the space. And I'm sure most ships could be given a holodeck, like the like Excelsior refit, right, in the TNG. I'm sure they could be refitted. The captain insists, right, and they can make it work.
Hmm.
But as a standard build, I don't know if most
Yeah.
ships would even need one, and therefore it wouldn't be an issue.
But as you were
Hmm.
talking there about the Voyager, and
Yeah.
they have the bar, they have, the village
Yeah.
at one point. Um, it kind of made me think that smaller ships might need it more. Because the Enterprise D, you've got a
Mm.
dedicated 10 forward bar. You probably got other bars. You've got all of the rooms you need in the Galaxy class, right? Space is limited in smaller ships, so why not have a holodeck that you could
Yeah.
make into a bar so that people, the crew, the command crew can hang out together in a bar and not have a room dedicated just to be a goddamn bar? And then 10 minutes later, it can be a research lab if you need it or whatever. It's a
Mm.
multi-purpose room that takes up a lot less space. Now, again, power is a concern. So if you're in a mission, power levels are low, you might not be able to use that. But it almost makes more sense for smaller ships to have a holodeck. Power supply notwithstanding, because yeah, you need a lot of power for it, or a dedicated server core for computer memory. But you know what I mean? Like smaller ships would seem to need it more than bigger ships, because bigger ships you could have everything you need on board, including
I mean,
arboretums and
yes, but you're always gonna have a a restaurant style area room, right? You always need that room space where people can eat the meals of the ship, because no people
yes,
aren't eating their quarters. So every ship has some level of mess hall, which therefore is going to have the I mean, you've talked about this sometimes, like the shift idea of having how many shifts. So a Nova, say, 50 people. Say you need 20 on active duty at any given time, 15 off duty sleeping, and 10 are rotating around. I mean, the rooms are so empty in terms of like who is free at any given time that you might have 4 people in the bar or in the 10 forward area, whatever. There's enough mental space to not need a bigger space because 100 crew does not mean 100 crew. It means, you know what I mean? It means a very small crew who actually are free at any given
yeah,
time. So, and then if you're only doing a week mission, you can deal with it. So I agree in a sense, but it's so few people. And then if you're doing a mission, so if Nova's only got this bigger warp core, and let's say 40% of it ends up being the holodeck because it's probably going to be a huge power suck, then is it worth losing, let's say, 5 people's quarters? I'm just saying 6 people's quarters, right? So 6 people
hmm
to be able to lose full shield power, full warp power, like to distinctly lose a lot of your top tier power system usage for 4 people to enjoy an
yeah.
afternoon. I know I agree with you in some semblance, but like the trade
No, I
off
agree with
might
you.
not be
I
worth
agree
it.
with your. I agree with your argument as well.
Yeah.
Uh, but what happens if your small little ship that's on a 1 week mission gets sucked into the Delta
Well,
Quadrant?
you go crazy and kill a whole bunch of things.
Perfect. Because it's space, man. They've been doing space stuff long enough to know that shit happens. So you should have at least one holodeck of varying size on every ship. Let's be honest. But yeah, yeah,
Because it's doubly interesting in that what are most ships' roles? Because most ships aren't exploring. Most ships aren't able to, right? So exploring implies going further out. If you take the correct, travel warp speed, it can take, a week to get somewhere, a week back, right?
Mhm.
At a good warp speed. But if you're a Nova, say, or a Norway, don't know what they do exactly, are you going to be sent on a 2 week there, 2 week back assignment? Because that's a long way away for anything small. Is your job to go to Beta Z only 4 days away to do a mission, and then go on to Hopscotch 6, and then go on to Nightel 4, and all of which are 5 days from each other, and each of which the crew can request a beam down if they would like. There's no problem. Like, what are most ships' mission profiles to therefore not be near nature or a starbase versus the Explorer who's actually out, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a very good point. Like a lot of stuff is very internalized within the Federation space. You got diplomatic envoys, you've got science vessels that, like the Grissom, perfect example, sent to investigate the Genesis planet. Um, but yeah, there's got to be a starbase a couple days away. week to get there, week or two for the mission, and then another week back. That's a month gone. I mean, plus the problem is though with Starfleet and the ever-changing tides of the universe and just lack of resources, that ship that got sent a week away to do a 2 week long mission, at the end of that mission might be redirected somewhere a month away because it's the closest ship technically to go do another mission, and that just keeps adding time. So sure, there might be a starbase along the way to resupply whatever, but there also might not be. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Space is big, man. So you're not always going to be sending ships from a home port like a starbase or Earth to a mission. There's another ship that's out there 2 weeks away from they're just going to send them, and then something else comes up. It's just it's constantly a game of juggling your ships around, and that's what the Admiralty does. They decide what's going on in that regard. So yeah. So yeah, you could be out there for a lot longer than you anticipated initially.
But I would imagine that most captains at some point could put their foot down. You know, they also don't want to be away from, because they're also experiencing the same thing. And if you like, Picard is going in knowing and not really caring he's not going to see Earth for a long time, right? And as is Riker, the whole crew know exactly the point, right?
But they're on a mobile starbase essentially, so it doesn't matter.
Well, they are, yes. Yeah. But I'm saying whereas if you are the captain of a smaller ship, you aren't signing up for like 4-month missions normally, and so therefore you could possibly decline, or like there's some level of pushback you could give versus a galaxy, because you are also your crew, right? You're, you know, if you realize your captain likes spending 9 months away from Earth, and you want to see your kid every 4 months, you're probably going to ask for a reassignment. You know, it's kind of the same thing. If you're a captain who does want to do that, can I get a holodeck aboard? Okay, yeah, Mark IV. I'll take a Mark IV. Like it must be customizable, right? It must be.
Yes and no. It is still military-esque service. You go where you're pointed, essentially. You're the spear tip. They're pointing you in the directions you need to go. You really don't have a say in the matter. So, well, yes, you wouldn't sign up to be a captain of a Galaxy class ship if you wanted to get back to Earth on a regular basis, sure. But at the same time, shit happens, and if a war breaks out and we need reinforcements along a border,
that's a slightly different situation. I agree.
I know, but I'm just saying, space is big. There's a lot of shit going on out there. How many weird anomalies do you find, temporal or not? How many?
Pretty good.
How many wars or border skirmishes are there that they just need reinforcements? They just need ships, just need numbers. And you can't say, I've been out here for 6 months. I really expect to be back like 3 months ago. I don't want to do that. It's like, uh-huh. Well, then, where's your first officer? I want to talk to him. Get your ass thrown in the brig. So yeah, I agree with you to a certain degree, and it is Starfleet. It is. I mean, that's the thing with Next Generation. They had a good time where there's been a lot of peace. There hasn't been a lot going on.
Oh yeah.
The Cardassian Wars has been over for a while. The Romulans haven't been seen. The Klingons are our friends. Like it's unprecedented peacetime. So they build the Galaxy class and they just tool around, right? But that's very stable circumstances, and you know the galactic situation wouldn't remain stable. There's always something going on.
Oh, I don't even know that, in the sense that if you were an officer, like if you were born, okay, if you were born pre or post 9/11, have a very different outlook on life, right? So if you were born pre-war and you never thought it, you wouldn't cross. What do you mean we can have a galactic war where we lose 500 ships in a battle? What? But then if you fought on the Dominion War, you'd be like, okay, I'm ready for it. You know.
Yeah.
Man, that's so interesting.
Rose Kirby asks, I'm just answering him here, but
yeah,
you stopped talking, so I didn't really have to do that. He asks if we are going to be doing a review of the next episode on Thursday or Friday, or both. Thursday will be a first reaction review at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Friday is our full breakdown and review at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
As was editor review on the same day, if you want to see our concise, genuine first reaction thoughts, because we always film our first editor review first. It's our absolute first opinions. They might be wrong because we just watched it, but like are genuine. So Stu gets to think about it, watch it more times, talk about it with the audience, and then I get to watch a second time after I listen to us again in editing, and then re-debate it even further, and then we're done after that. We're sick of it, we're done.
Hopefully. Sometimes we get dragged back out kicking and screaming to talk about things. But yeah. And Geek Filter's here. Good to see you, Aaron. Are you going to STLV? I want to know.
Stuart has let out the challenge. He has asked the man, myth, the legend.
But yeah, I mean, so yes, I think to a certain degree, captains. Again, what's the structure like? Do you get to pick your assignment? I mean, Battelle did.
Well, I don't think I meant pick in the literal. Just a case of kind of like an Uber driver in the sense if you're in an area of space where there's civilian colonies, because at certain points there'll be lots of different types of ships, and there's a disturbance in X planet. As you say, there's 45 ships in range. It could be any of them. One could have a better security officer, one could have tacticals. Like you might say to 3.
There's never that many ships in range. You're always the only ship in the quadrant.
Oh boy, and I've used that joke on purpose, and it's stupid. It's annoying to write that joke. But I mean, stuff from like a Raven up to a Galaxy, like if you just need a little simple mission, you don't necessarily need the best of the best, right? So that's what I mean by clarifying. So if there was 4 ships and they send all 4, I mean, who can get there quicker? I mean, some captains might say, "Oh, I like to stay at warp 3," and someone like, "Yeah, I'll burn warp 9," right? Because it's meant to be a space fleet. You know, I've sort of fought against the idea of there being many ships in the NX era. You know, I'm like, oh, there's 25, that's enough. I'd be like, there's 400, like, okay. In TNG, I'm happy with it being, 700, 800. But then you're using all the different generations of ships, right? You got a 50 TOS one still, you got 20 NX still, you've got, somehow you've got 400 ships with refit nacelles somehow, just because they keep reusing them, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna have some ships around, at least in the sort of distances.
Yeah. I mean, Geek Filter's a good person to have here because he covers the animated series, talk about the environmental simulator.
A couple of things.
He just said my headcanon is that the gray walls that we saw were actually the equivalent of a video game start screen, and the grid was underneath it. We never saw it. Yeah. Like that's coming back to the holodeck discussion. The thing that really sticks with me is the visual for Strange New Worlds. Just being a TNG holodeck grid. Nothing was changed to make it feel more era appropriate. We brought up Star Trek Continues. They had a holodeck, and when they turned it off, it looked era appropriate. Like they did a really good job with that. So I don't know why Strange New Worlds couldn't do that. I don't know if this was just they didn't think about it. This was just the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, they thought about it.
Well, then make it era appropriate. That would have taken away one argument.
Canon, though. They are making it era appropriate. Get over yourself. You're not canon. They're canon.
Erg. Yeah, I mean, sure.
People just say, it's like, oh, cool. Cool.
But you brought up cool. You brought up a good point too with La'an. She's had a usually you do sometimes, yeah. She's had a security. They just underwent a massive 3-month refit, which would have incorporated building this room.
Oh yeah.
To test this. It's not like they popped it in a weekend going, oh, you're going on a mission. Hold on a second. We got something for you. Just beam this into your ship. There you go. Test that out. She would have known all about it, but at the beginning of the episode, she's like, you want me to do what? With what? Is that like a battle simulator? Yeah, is that like a battle simulator? Really? You don't know? You're not aware of what the fuck is on your own ship? And it's a big room.
You know.
It's not like it's a temporary mock-up that's like 12 feet by 12 feet that they put in the shuttle bay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
it's probably permanent if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Geek Filter says, "Yep, exactly. The grid could have looked different. We jokingly said that the line about the recreation room was just to get rich and to shut up.
Mm.
It's also not a deck. Yeah, it's a room. Hollow room. Call it a hollow room instead of a holodeck. Call it the recreation room. Pike did it. And then everyone else in the episode. I understand Una saying a holodeck sounds better, but then La'an, Scotty, Uhura, everybody after that called it a holodeck. There was no changing of the like one person said holodeck, one person said recreation room, because that would confuse the audience because we're fucking stupid. But no, everybody said holodeck. Why? To ingrain in their heads that, yes, this is from TNG. You remember the holodeck from TNG, right? That's what this is. Again,
I remember. I
assuming
remember her dick. I remember.
just assuming that the audience is stupid. And I hate that. I also get that Pike is holographophobia or something. He hates holograms. Uh, and it's
Holographophobia, yeah.
made very clear in Discovery where he says, I want all the holographic projectors ripped out of the Enterprise. And at the end of this one, he's like, yeah, I'll just bury it in a box.
Because for him, I think holodecks are his line must be drawn here.
Oh yeah, he's old school.
Here.
Yeah.
No more holodecks for you. No.
And Geek Filter says Rec Room sounds better and is shorter. I 1000% agree with you.
Because there's such a charm to the idea of this episode, right? It's the first, not maybe the first, but one of the first. Like so I'm sure it was a writer's room and they said, let's do a holodeck episode, and silence ensues, and people look around saying, the first holodeck, ooh, and then okay, prequel, you can have fun with that, right? And I disagree with people who say this season is creatively bankrupt and member berries. It's like no, I like using canon. I like adding to it if it's good. That's part of the fun of the universe, right? That is inventing the Eldonians from Tel 6-4 who dye their hair blue every 4th century, and then we leave and we never talk about them again. You're not done
And
anything.
they dye it red when they're at war.
Well, yeah. Adds nothing, right? Maybe a cosplay opportunity, right? Like fun, whatever. So I absolutely fine with them doing things to add texture, and they added some texture. It's just they could and should have thought, okay, well, we're doing such a potentially groundbreakingly important thing, which is not holodeck, proto holodeck. Let's take the instinct of rec deck. Let's use that as the only phrase we use. Let's take that as the impetus. Holodeck is future. What we've got rec deck. We've got, because I would be fine, Stuart. I would be fine. I mean, as you know, would I be fine? I don't know. Okay, you and me right now. Would you be fine? An audience as well. Would you be fine? Would you be fine if this episode, rather than the way it started, well, it's the same scene, but this is the dialogue. It is, Lan, we've got this test for you. It's in the rec deck. Oh, really? What sort of test? We've added a new module that allows for interactive people simulations. Oh, I thought it was only useful for environments. It was, but we've got some experimental add-ons. It's been installed in the systems. So they retcon, they've always had a rec deck, but they make a super hard point of saying it's very not able to do people. This is the first, it fails obviously as we saw, but it is a first test. So we do retcon it into TOS, but make the limitations really specific. Because that's more bold, I think. But would that feel better? We never mention holodeck. We never see the... Okay.
And also saying things like, it would be great if they could incorporate smells or more realistic smells, maybe. Because I wouldn't have a problem with basic smells, but the nuance. And I think that's why when we see it in Encounter at Farpoint and Wrecker's so amazed by it, is because that's the latest advancement. Like everything smells like it should. It gives the whole ambiance of a forest as opposed to just some pine scent and maybe a little bit of dirt. It's everything.
Yeah, they upgrade from air fresheners to, the actual environment, yeah.
Yeah. And Rose Kirby says, no, go ahead.
But like, take that into account what I just said. Like, would you react negatively at all? Because we did not know we didn't get what we got at all. So this was the official holodeck explanation, and it's a full retcon, and boom, now we know forever they had it the whole time. or because we've been given such a drastic version, do you think, in all honesty, you would still react negatively to that? Or really, no, that's absolutely fine. You really totally good.
I'm more or less fine with it.
Mm.
I like the idea that it's just on star bases, because of power concerns and things like that. But like I said, the visual bugs me. If they changed the visual, it would have taken away a lot of my argument,
Well, yeah,
which I thought I was going to have more of. But the way they handled it by saying and not saying certain things,
not saying is a big
really,
one. Yeah.
I got to give them credit for the way they handled it, because it really smoothed it over for a lot of people. Before we get into that
Oh yeah.
more anymore, though, Rose Kirby says, "Hey, I would love both your views on Star Trek Prodigy. You should go back and watch all of our Prodigy reviews because we covered Prodigy quite in depth. So go check out all those videos." Sorry, go ahead.
I would recommend that people go watch my Parody fan film collection of episodes, which tells a grand universe-spanning narrative to support the hashtag Save Prodigy campaign, and also the 2 Save Prodigy campaign videos that I created. Because I like Prodigy quite a bit. I
We
care
both
quite a
do.
bit. I've been on the Pro
Yeah.
Star. I've what have I done? I've done a few things. For a certain while, I made an excuse to put Prodigy in things because it's not that difficult. I have a high-end uniform. I have several. It's great. I mean, you know that, but yeah, I'm gonna play the trailer because I can plug.
Uh, yeah, and Geek Filter's like, yes, I wrote the book about TAS. I know. I love that. I'm trying to make it work. Yeah, I liked his suggestion. He says, I wanted them to say they call it a holodeck, but we're calling it a rec room. Just flip it. And you made a good point too. If you watch the subtitles, you might not catch it when Pike says it, but he does say the recreation room, not the recreation room, which are the exact same thing. But recreation room has a hyphen in it.
Oh, the
Um,
hyphen.
yeah, so it's recreation, recreation, all good. Yeah, I
It's the
just wish it wasn't drowned in
This
holodeck.
is the trailer for my multi-episode episodic Prodigy thing, which takes Prodigy into every other bit of canon involving a giant time travel plot. And yes, there is a Val Nakat dreadnought attacking Deep Space Nine, as you do. As you do, Stuart. It always happens every other year, you know. Um, he's a real dick,
Yes.
is our old dreadnought. He's a real dick. But he loves Tholians, right? He loves that. So, whatever reason, so, some people would like him for that, but other people wouldn't like him for liking Tholians. Don't know if you fall in a specific camp or not.
Oh, Captain Foley has very complex thoughts about the Tholians.
That's what's
I think it goes from a hate to love relationship.
that. And then love to hate, and hate to love, and
Yep.
then romantic at some point. It's very confusing. I don't know. Ooh, wow.
That would be rough. Yeah.
Sharp. Very sharp.
They are
Uh,
hot though. They are very
mm.
hot species. So
Yeah, they can melt your cold heart.
yep.
Add your bones
And
too.
a small ice moon. Yeah.
Oh, there's the Foley. Oh, that's weird. Oh shit. What? Oh
Holy class, what?
shit. Yeah. So I think, as with anything, contrast is important. I think fans would have still been annoyed had Rec Deck appeared in a big way, but yeah, I would have framed it entirely with that caveat, and I would have, if you want to be very very like properly cheeky at the end of said episode, you have Scully turn to. See, I'd have had some like Daystream aboard to help test it personally if I was doing the story. I have an engineer, right?
Yeah.
That'd be me. And then you can reference Day, not literally Daystream, but like they do with the TOS episode. Like he came in and did that. Cool.
And Geek Filter says in the animated series you could also walk
Yeah.
and eventually hit a wall. And
Yep.
having a house as opposed to an open environment still can maintain that idea. The Tholians are currently featured in the latest Excelsior Star Trek Adventure RPG game. I'm drawing a dreadnought right now. Awesome. You should draw the Foley class. I want to see your version.
Yeah. Do it. Do it.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it didn't, because they make a point of that in TNG as well. It's describing the holodeck, the tractor beam and the walls, the projections pull you in other directions, so you can walk and not hit a wall because it'll steer you away from it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's the thing. It's fine with a inverted commas fine that you can have the technology to create an interactive hologram earlier, right? That I could sort of agree with, because if you've got beaming and warp, holograms aren't a million miles away, right? It's the limitations that make it key. So if they'd said in the episode very explicitly, we can make a 100 meter by 100 meter by 100 meter, well, 100 meter by 100 meter by 50 meter environment at any given time, and you can run it, as in jog, so you could actually get to the end of it. If you jog, it can't keep up, right? So you have to be chilling. And same logic, you can't have, like, if there's and this has been an amazing hint for Spock in the episode. If they said 2 people, it like damages how distances, right? Like 2 people have to stay together at all times for it to work.
Yeah.
And then you say, but Spock went off. What? That would have been great, right? Because I could see that. Then it becomes just enhanced what we saw in Discovery Season 1. If you have to stay together for the effect to work properly, then it becomes an enhanced training simulator where you can take a team of 2 or 3 people, one room at a time, doing a thing, but now you see it, you smell it, maybe not smell it, but like you feel it in a way that the other one didn't, right? That makes sense. But and yeah, the room size was a good caveat. I just wish they were more explicit. We can pull from that. I said in our review, not seeing out the windows implies it can't render the outside. Brilliant. It's not in the episode, but it's in the episode, which is a very annoying canon-y thing to me.
We never got exterior shots of the house. We never got anything like the view out a window. And if they did, it would have been great if it was foggy. That adds to the murder mystery vibe.
Foggy would have been great.
You can't leave the house because it's really dark, really foggy.
Mm-hmm.
You do see when they find Ortigas's body and Hura's there is windows and there's like a moonlight streaming in, but with the curtains, it's very still iffy outside. So I'm glad they did that and didn't establish any exterior shots or anything like that, because I think, like I mentioned, it kind of, the whole episode for me was very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And there have been, like I said, the movie Clue is the perfect example. It's the same thing. It's a murder mystery inside a house. It's thunderstorming outside. The power lines are down. The phone lines are down. Or not the power lines, but the phone lines are down, so they can't communicate. And that didn't give me a claustrophobic feeling at all. Because once or twice they'd opened the door for like a police officer came to the door and there was a singing telegram lady, and the conservatory you can see out, and there's like dogs outside that attack the window and they tried to get out. Like, it made it feel like much more real, I think. Whereas this one felt very claustrophobic to me. And I think that was kind of I think that was kind of on purpose. So
well, and I got a blowback from my first fan film. If you've not seen my first fan film, Star Trek, skip over my next sentence because it's the big spoiler of the entire film, and it's worth watching because spoilers pretty core to the story. So go watch Temple Rumble right now, or just skip over. Cool, thanks. So the whole thing is a giant holodeck simulation. Shocker. And I got some people saying, you can't show the outside of the holodeck. Why are you showing a space battle? It's a holodeck. Then this is the character. You can't see 2 other characters who aren't people. Being a space battle is not part of the player's perspective. Like, and if you notice, you never see outside in holodeck episodes, like, because there is no outside. That's actually a caveat you use. I've said F that because I want to give it away. It'd be really small if you did that.
Well, right? It depends, because you can load up stories, right? You can either be in perspective mode,
no, that's true,
or be one of the characters. So if you're one of the characters, you only see what the character sees. But if you're in perspective mode watching it, you'd see all that stuff that's described in the narrative. You would see a space battle. You'd be sitting in space, essentially, watching the space battle as part of the narrative.
Well, that's true if yeah, that's true if you were on a view screen, but then it wouldn't need to generate that outside the ship. It would still only need to be on the view screen. You'd have to be, obviously, if you're in a shuttle, it'd generate it, but it wouldn't need to unless you were actually physically out there. So
yeah.
So
because you could watch classic Sherlock Holmes stories.
From
anyway, where you see the murder and stuff committed, and you're watching it, and you're like in the environment. And then if you want to be in perspective mode, you're just Sherlock Holmes. You just get the Sherlock Holmes parts of that. Like, they make a point of saying that there's perspective mode and stuff. They never really dive too deep into it, but yeah.
To truly experience it. 100%, yeah, and that would be And that'd be just a big part of the fun, right? Just playing, watching, not just playing.
Yeah. Uh, Kyle Swinderman throws in $10,
Oh,
so thank you so much.
thank you so much.
Just joined the streams. Love
Welcome.
everything you both do.
Oh, it's quite a lot.
Uh, don't know if someone has mentioned it, but how do we make relics work in canon when
Huh.
Scotty didn't even know what a holodeck is? You
Hmm.
can't. They would have had to write in a line like they would have had to assume that people had seen the animated series and said, "Ah, so this is like a rec room, but like more advanced." Yeah. Um, but just taking into account all of the canon visuals that had come before that, it just makes sense that Scotty wouldn't know it. So maybe something happens to him. I mean, he did die in the Changeling, so maybe that erased his memory of the events of Strange New Worlds.
I'm seeing some slight memory loss as a byproduct of dying,
Yeah,
but for future memory loss in the future.
yeah.
So I've heard that argument, and I'm trying to remember what he actually said. Because I remember walking
Uh,
up to the holodeck and talking to it. I don't remember being surprised it exists though. That might just be me. I don't remember him being like, "What's a holodeck?" Necessarily, more like the fact that it could recreate his
I think
thing.
Riker gives him a little bit of an introduction to it. Maybe because how would he know to go to a holodeck to recreate the bridge because he's feeling depressed?
Well, no, doesn't Data tell him in the 10 forward?
Maybe.
Because I don't think you'd think to go to holodeck if you were that depressed, but realizing I can. Plus, if it's better than it was at the time. Let me look at subtitles.
Yeah. Guys, hit that like button. We have 37 of you here and 33 likes. I'd like to get to 50 likes if we can. So if you're just joining us
Oh,
now, hit the like button, please do so.
because I'd be. This is why the two phrases works. If it's environmental simulator and then mention holodeck, then him not know what holodeck is not him not know what holodeck is. It's what this version is called. You know,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
it's like a smartphone versus a phone. Back 20 years ago, a phone means a home phone.
Yeah.
You would need to clarify. Now you say a phone, no one assumes home phone, right? So
Yeah.
holodeck
The
versus
vernacular changes. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. That's why I'm so pissed that they said holodeck the entire
yeah.
fucking episode.
Look at TN2S. That's why I'm not finding it. You idiot.
Geek
So
filter. That was also my point about the recreation room. No one there was surprised that it existed, so
yep.
clearly it had to have existed before 2270. So having it during Strange New World isn't that surprising. Correct.
I mean, it's still a big old retcon, really, because it was never intended to be. Then every single story that could have had it and didn't is worse, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It. That's the thing. You backdating stuff damages it. It just does. Unless it's really unbelievably organic, like the Klingon head virus. Like it's like, oh, okay, we kind of it just kind of worked, right? But having, I mean, simply that the barbarian, the Barbara guy who's the murderer. Like, why is he doing a play not in the holodeck then? He would do it in the holodeck. There'd be no reason not to, right?
Yeah.
You just wouldn't.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like things like that, but they just didn't.
Kudos, the executioner.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just didn't have it yet. That's why. But they would have. It would have been standard. So having it just after TOS, that's why it was great in TAS. It's like, oh, it's new. But the thing is, because you're so tech normalized, I could see within 1 year, like you get used to it. Like I had a smartwatch for maybe a year and a half, and within 6 months it's normal because you're
Yeah.
doing it daily. And if you're like, oh, of course we're all cycling through the holodeck, whatever, every other day, you get used to it really quickly. I had no problem in that at all.
Well, I mentioned that when we were looking at the Starfleet Academy trailer, and the girl was looking at the picture of Cisco, and somebody said, Why is she so surprised to be looking at this person that she can go to the holodeck and hang out with?" It's like, yeah, but the holodeck is so common that you wouldn't necessarily think of it. I know kids, like my own fucking kids, who grew up with a smartphone that have Google, all the information of the world access in their hands, and they come up and ask me stupid questions. And I'm like, you have a phone, right? You could just Google this or look up a YouTube how-to video. Like, I appreciate you coming to ask your dad, but they don't think about it because it's so common. So yeah, I get it.
yeah, somebody said on my fan films like, oh, well, this. I'm like, just watch the film and find out. Like, it was a clarification of a line. Like, just could go back and just listen to the line again. That's the
And
obvious
continue
answer, right?
watching.
Just go look.
Yeah.
It's that easy, right?
It's like when
So,
you're watching a movie for the first time with your significant other and they start asking you questions about it. Like, I don't know, I'm watching it for the first time too. Let's just watch. They might answer
that's
it.
different because you're experiencing it as a first time
Yeah.
without breaking the immersion of whatevering. But yeah, I mean, Scotty was so traumatized, is the wrong word, but his world got destroyed. He's not thinking, oh, I'm going to just go to the Holodecks. I'm rewatching currently from the bar thing, so I want to remember what happens. He just, as far as I know, just goes to the Holodeck, just walks up to it, which means he would already know it exists. Let's see what the lines are.
Yeah. And Rose Kirby says, I did see most of your reviews and content.
Oh,
Awesome. On Star Trek Prodigy. Both. I love having physical media Blu-rays and or DVDs, but it's a shame it will never be finished. Well, they left it at a good spot. Right? There's no like massive cliffhanger. Like Firefly or other shows. So
Okay, so he walks
oh
up
yeah,
to
he
it,
says the android at the bar said you could show me my old ship.
and then
Let
he
me
has to
see it.
clarify.
Yeah.
And he is also slightly drunk. He's slightly
Yeah.
drunk, or he's been drinking and sad, but he's not. And he's not acting surprised. He's acting annoyed. You know, because
Yeah.
everything. Because also remember, like he's been told by Geordie, like the things that you thought you knew are different now, even though they're the same. So he's like, "You're a holodeck now. Cool, let's go for it." Yeah, there's nothing in the scene that says it's new to him, except the quality is new to him. Right?
Yeah.
The immersion factor. So yeah, I think absolutely fine to know what holodeck was. There you go, debunked by just watching the episode.
And his annoyance of like which Enterprise there have been. Well, they give the wrong number there too.
Well,
It's another retcon thing.
yeah, because I'd imagine that back in the day, you would manually program programs potentially. Like that would be another thing if like I mean they break it in this episode of course, but like another limitation. Imagine if you can create create the program or create the look, but to synthesize a program is really hard. So they give her 10 program choices based on the people who created the technology, because it takes so long to program. So now in TNG, the other advantage is create for me a giant room with 15 people, and it does it. But in that era, it's like I've got these 9 programs. There's loads of them after a while, but it's set, right?
It's like my old TRS-80 computer what I had back in the 80s from Radio Shack. You could write your own games and you had to do it line by line, line by line, and then you played the game.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing. And this actually Stranger World did that very well because the Amelia Moon stuff, there's 151 stories. And I think that's more than enough for the computer to analyze to give you something to be because it needs information. So
well, it wants to do a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, it wants to do a good job, so
yeah.
Makes sense.
Kyle Swinderman, $5.
Thanks much.
Random off topic, slightly. Any thoughts on the Paramount merger coming and how it will affect Trek? Not really, no. I've watched a few things on that, and I've heard a lot of conflicting information. Like Alex Kurtzman will be out in 2026, or that he might be extending his contracts for another like 5 or 6 years or some shit. I don't know. I don't know how the corporate merger thing works. So, yeah.
Yeah, was the Schrodinger's.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Schrodinger's merger.
It could be the best thing ever. It could be real bad.
Yeah.
But you know, like with Enterprise, as soon as one guy was put in charge, cancelled, gone, as it was finding its footing, right? Because one guy happened to be in. Or I know that for Babylon 5, the guy that was in the company that owned Warner Brothers, I think, he retired. The next year, they had the remastered Blu-ray out, and a movie 6 months after that, because he retired. So instantly the floodgates were opened. So if the guy who is in the TV department's like, I loved Trek when I was a kid, or my dad loved Trek, or my brother loved Trek, you know what? they've not quite done so well in the last 20 years, 15 years. It's been oddly handled. We can do better. Let's develop. Then it's great. If they say, oh, ooh, they've cancelled 7 shows in 10 years. Ooh, we've oversaturated it and we've caused
I've heard
damage.
I've heard rumors that Starfleet Academy has already been canceled. No season 2 before it even airs. So
I mean, they're filming season 2 in like a month, but okay.
I know.
I guess they won't be
Uh,
if they're doing that, but that's what
yeah.
they're.
Well, back to holodecks.
Oh my
Geek
god, the
Filter.
holodeck!
Geek Filter says, "Yeah, it'd be like telling someone from the '70s, wait until you see an OLED flat screen." Yes,
That's
vivid color, 4K,
yeah,
true black. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, because it's not just the tech; it's understanding. I often say when people say, "Oh, evolution of tech," blah blah. But yes, just because you can hand this phone to someone in 2003 with the first iPhone, it looks sort of the same, but boy, the tech inside is different. Wait, you've got a zoom camera? You can zoom 50
How do you?
times and it looks
Yeah.
lossless? What?
How do you unlock this? There's no button. It's like, yeah,
Well, yeah, yeah. You've got 3 cameras and they're the size of my what? And you put there's a pen that works with a computer in it, but it's just a smartphone, and
yeah,
doesn't matter if they could reverse it. It doesn't matter if they could take this apart in 2001. They could not rebuild this in the same level. They do not have the materials, the knowledge, or the ability to, even with it in front of them. Especially
yeah,
this. I'm interested in graphics cards and such, and there was like, oh, the new 4mm processors coming out. If you're on like a 30mm, like, yeah, we'll shrink it by 9 times. Like,
yeah. You don't have the technology or the infrastructure to do it. That's why reverse engineering technology takes years.
yeah,
'Cause you have to understand first how it works and then how to actually manufacture it. And by the time you actually manufacture something that does similar things, it's not anywhere near the small size of the original. So
yeah. It's just the fact that you've got there is the achievement, not that it's as good. And that's okay,
yeah.
because it's impressive as reverse engineer.
And Geek Filter also says they did miss a huge opportunity to actually talk about AI and how it affects the entertainment industry. It's almost like they purposely didn't mention it. Hmm.
Can you
Yeah.
elaborate? I'm not sure I quite know what you mean. I mean, I like Trek does good at being modern, but I also wouldn't ruin. I mean, Discovery Season 1 had too many modern political tropes, and that helped date it.
Yeah.
And it's like it doesn't stand out as well because, like, well, that's a this reference, someone's high school, etc. So by using really modern day stuff, you end up, doing bad.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want them to be like, oh, I'll just, yeah, that's what the problem of AI. It's like, well, it wouldn't be a problem then. So let's not talk about AI, right?
Yeah. Geek Filter says, yeah, in 2003, I'd have to have a DSLR to take the same pics I have on my phone today. Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
and it's still a DSLR still better, even with, I mean, more comparable, of course, but still better. Like they don't
Well, it's
actually.
also evolving at the same rate as the phone cameras. So, of course, it's going to always be a little bit better, I think.
Well, yes, but I mean, my DSLR is from 2015. It takes a better picture. At least it can do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the point of the phone camera is that you can point and click, and it takes pretty damn good. DSLR is not that easy and not that simple. Okay, some, but like it isn't actually that simple, and that's why it's great. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, same like CG modeling, right? The fact that Enterprise or BSG can make beautiful CG, and yet the same software today, many people will do worse CG. Same software, it's your ability to
Hmm.
use it. So
Yeah.
that's why I like limitations in tech and such, like knowing we can only do a building at a time. We can only do 5 characters at a time. Like that might have even been an amazing plot twist, not plot twist, but
Or a,
like
cer- or a certain number of lines of dialogue, like we talked about, like a video game. Talk to an NPC, they got 6 responses. You have 6 questions you can ask them. They have the responses to those, and then every time you go back to that character, all they say is, I don't have anything that can help you right now," because you've already used them all up. That would have been great to have in this episode.
so I can imagine if it's a who done it, that there's something to be said for, okay, so she's a computer, tell me the limitations. You can have 4 active interactive holograms at any given time. and I guess it'd be lying because it'd be 5 because Spock, but that's a whole different thing. And the idea would be that she's given like like she meets all 5 in the first scene because they can't make it all at the same time, right? They're all in different rooms, and then when she says who isn't the killer, they're out the program, and so it lets you have the rest of the left over, because there's so many films where you do like the same scene, but you keep shooting the questioner's question and swap out who the person she's interviewing is. So if you approach it that way and had almost no scenes of everyone together, because they're in different rooms, they're just not being generated, right? And you're able to have 2 or 3, and then you could like, because you could trick it, right? She could, again, I'm just adding fun context, but imagine if she was like, she's chasing down not Pike, into a room, and then the computer knows, oh shit, Mbenga was there, so now you see him like try and phase in, but the computer can't manage it, and that causes a problem. Like, it's trying to do too much, like, because as far as we saw, were there any limitations what we saw? It felt like
Well, that would have been fun if there was having limitations like that. That's why it was drawing so much power, because it was trying to correct them on the fly. So it kept pulling more power for processing. That was never really explained or gone into. Because her mission, her assignment was to push it to the limit. So.
And did we find its limit?
Nope.
Yep. Well, we found the limit of the ship, right? But not the limit.
The power, yeah.
Which is not what they were expecting.
No.
Which is fine, of course, but like, oh, they weren't actually, thinking that.
I would have taken his Pike. We need more power. And if we could communicate with La'an, she'd be like, hold on a second. Goes into a closet. Because that's just generating in the closet. Doesn't have to worry about the characters outside.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although they might be asking, why'd you go in the closet? But it wouldn't have to do visuals necessarily.
See, that's funny.
Yeah.
Man, there's so many things you could do.
Just start killing holodeck characters.
Well,
we need more power. Oh, I don't want you talking. Dead.
And then you get the ethicity of, are they real people? I had to kill.
Oh,
I had to
of
kill
course, of course.
But that's where you aren't using the murder mystery narrative that they want to be the main plot line, which limits you limits the wrong word, but like that's the point of the story, right? So it's not a holodeck episode, it's a murder mystery with the holodeck. And there aren't that many holodeck only episodes that are actually a holodeck.
Yeah. Geek Filter says it would have been fun if they buffered, and that's what allowed La'an to move out of the way of a bullet or something. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd been really fun. We said at the time, what exactly does she mean about I won the first game or whatever? It's like, did you?
Well, I've leveled up and the computer's trying to match me. Yeah.
Did you? Miss Noonian Singh? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
I don't know. She might be sure about that.
I don't think she's sure about that.
But I am sure that we have 43 likes. I'd like to get 50. I'm very sure of that as well. So hit that like button if you're just joining us and haven't hit like yet. Also, keep the super chats coming. We do address each one, and it does support the channel. So if you can help us out, please do so. We appreciate it.
It makes so much difference, guys. You guys know, but it really does.
You do know.
How could they have, like, go best case for a second, right? What would have been the best case version where just your brain would have accepted it and there'd be not a single fan crying out in the night? Right, what would have been the perfect version, best case? Still with this visual art design, of course. We're not retconning Strange Worlds. Like, what do you think would have given the best case to?
Like I said, limited responses from the characters, or buffering time of them answering. Having her walk out of one room into another room and hearing the other room or seeing it pixelate and go away.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Like those limitations, I would have been like, yes, thank you. Or just mentioning that there is no scent. Because she does say when she first arrives, when it first turns on, I can almost smell It's like I can almost smell the ocean breeze and the cigarette smoke. Um, but she said I can almost because she's been reading these books for so long. She's engrossed herself in that world that when it appears in front of her, she's like, I can almost smell the actual realism of this. So yeah, and when I first heard it, I thought she said she could smell them, which bothered me. But yeah, with the way she said it, the way the dialogue was written was very clever because it implies that she couldn't smell it.
It's as
So
if they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to say something that you can interpret several ways, so we can both be annoyed
yeah,
and happy
yeah.
and please nobody and please everybody.
Geek Filter says feels like a Dr. Leah Brahms situation. Did all of those people give permission to use their patterns? Doesn't seem like it, but it was never made explicit.
I feel like Scotty probably
I feel like they would have.
asked.
I feel like they would have signed off on it for testing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't. I mean, if we go by the logic of the scenario, they had 3 months. This would have been on the agenda. As soon as they start building it, they would have said, "Oh, yeah, we're going to need this, this, and this." And they asked over the previous week or two, "Can we get sign-offs?" That's why I said to you that it would have been great if they'd had other people who aren't main, or even, I mean, it's all different options. But it would have been fun if they'd had, like, all of the people would recognize on Strange Worlds who weren't actually characters. That transport officer from one episode, right? Who actually is now doing a convention in the UK. He never returned, and he's now able to sign autographs. He played a transport guy once, and it's like, oh wow, you're selling some stuff, eh? Cool. So him, Mitchell, of course, the new ensign, that guy.
Mhm.
And then I can't even think of, but like the waiter from last episode, from episode 2, whose body got one of the waiters. Yeah, well, no, she's an alien, but one of the alien waiters.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like they could have done so much more with the dialogue, but they really want to let the middle breathe. I think we would say too much. The stuff in the mansion could have been refined a bit.
Yeah.
But then we obviously want the techie stuff. It's not really about that stuff, right?
Bear, do you
But it kind of is.
regret this, like, completely, or did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Oh, 1 second. I got another super chat. I'll just get to that in a second.
Super. Yeah, keep them coming, guys. Really enjoyed the debate so far, but want to keep knowing and hearing what you guys want to say. Oh my god! Well, there you go. So that's a super chat that raises the bar, sir.
Yes, sir.
Amazing.
All right, Kyle Swinderman, $50. So thank you so much.
And yet, funnily enough, that only gains you number 2 ranking. Oh no, wait. Yeah, no. Huh?
I'll read it while you are confused. I tried to be positive about Strange New Worlds, but this episode with the canon issues really bothered me, and I kind of felt like making fun of Shatner and Jean were done disrespectfully. Another draft and no Spock romance would have been great. I don't think they made fun of Shatner at all. I think he did a good homage to Shatner. He even put his own isms in there, so that's fine. And that wasn't really supposed to be Jean, even though it was kind of. It's yeah. If it bothered you, I'm sorry. Like that sucks, but I thought it was very well done in those regards, especially the Shatner stuff. That was just fun.
I think it's very much personal preference, because at what point does a parody become insulting, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you take it personally. Because if you have a really thick skin, then people making fun of you, actively making fun of you, can still be funny. Whereas if you are very, very nervous and like SNL, right? Famous example of just they make fun of people. Imagine you've got a slight stutter as a politician, and then they just replicate the stutter because that's what you've got. But you're nervous about it, and therefore you watch SNL, and it doesn't matter how good the sketch is, they've done your scutter, so you feel insulted, right?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sure Shatner, not with Fred Shatner specifically, but like he's heard impressions from good, bad, ugly across for 30, 40 years since he's been a famous, you know, in the you know, he's got a very mimicable style. So he's bloody used to all that, right? That is not an issue for him. So I think it's up to you. When I watched it, as you know, Stuart, I was more, it sounded like Vic Mignogna's impression because Shatner is not that high a baritone or a note. Now, Paul Wesley's not the same voice. I mean, his version of Shatner just has to be high pitched. But I remember Chris Pine did a Shatner impression for SNL, I actually believe, and it was very good. Actually, it was surprisingly good, and it was a much lower, because he has a lower voice, I guess, and he tends to act in low. So that felt more like, okay, this is a good Shatner. For me, it was more Vic Mignogna, who is a great actor, but he's got his own voice. It's very, very distinct, and you're putting whatever performance through that lens, and the lens is Vic Mignogna's natural voice. Okay, cool, fine, whatever. So Paul Wesley was a little bit like that to me, but that's just maybe I'm more noticing of that, and maybe for other people it isn't, which is fine, right? So I, while a good impression in theory, it was more on the mocking side, but also it wasn't literally Kirk. Like Shatner and Kirk are smarter than they're portrayed, as well. Like as soon as you make them look dim, well, that's not being Shatner, because Shatner's quite a smart guy. He's an odd guy, but he's quite a smart guy, right? How many documentaries is he hosting because he's just interested, right? And people tend to say like, he's a really inquisitive mind. He's got a really he's really engaged in stuff, and Gene, I didn't see much of Gene in Pike. I don't know Gene that well, but I didn't think he was super genie.
I didn't either.
They could have gone super genie, but I think if it was obviously meant to be him, like obviously it would have been more on the nose. Is the wrong phrase, but like, oh okay. But then of course it is still being Gene. It's still being Shatner. Just are they being literal mockery, or are they being fun archetypes, right?
Yeah, I think the Shatner thing was very clever and well done, I thought.
While not being Shatner.
The TK character who was supposed to be Gene, I didn't see much similarities to Gene, except for maybe some of his thoughts on being ousted out of his own show.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were going for a 1-to-1 like this is Gene Roddenberry.
Because I would hope to think that this show is salient enough not to piss around with the creator of Trek, that like all of you wouldn't have jobs without this man.
Yeah.
All of you. Like how many millions has Kurtzman made because of Gene Roddenberry? Millions. At least $1 million,
Yeah. Geek Filter says literally every line, not an exaggeration, can be traced to something that happened behind the scenes or on the original series. Even the Western set in the Dakotas was "Have Gun Will Travel." Yeah, I got a lot of those. Like even the Una's character of basically being Lucille Ball, financing the show with her own money and all that kind of stuff. Like they were definitely doing that, but I don't know. I think it was done well, and I'm sorry that Kyle kind of doesn't think so. But
well, like I said, it's preference. It's just what you saw, didn't see. It's totally fine, right? It's not, it's amazing how we both, just you and me, see different levels of parodies being different things. It's just, a thing we see or don't see, and that's all good.
So Geek Filter said, so did that show exist in the Trek world, or did La'an imagine what the 60s show would have been through her view? Because if not, Last Frontier pretty much nailed Starfleet aesthetics. Well, I mean, it's a fictional TV show that was put in a fictional story about Amelia Moon, who's a fictional detective. So I don't think it was based on anything particular. The computer might have made it up, because it might not necessarily, or maybe the Final Frontier show was mentioned in another Amelia Moon novel, and it dragged it into this one. I don't know, but I don't think it exists necessarily in the world of Star Trek.
Whereas my specific interpretation is, yes, it was a canon show to the books.
Yeah.
And that's for me like a line that sounds like, yep, that's a real. if I was making a whatever Moon fan film series, I would be able to include this TV show in it because it's canon to the books.
Yeah.
Because it's canon to the books, the computer knew and therefore could use
Maybe
it.
maybe it's a show that Amelia Moon liked to watch on her downtime. It was mentioned in one or two of the books
Yeah.
out of the 151
Mm-hmm.
books that there were.
Mm-hmm.
So it just thought, hey, it would be fun if she met the actress that she likes, or she's heard of this show at least. Maybe not a fan of it, but yeah, that's kind of the assumption I got. So
Yeah, and wouldn't the players, we obviously they know they're playing a holodeck simulation. Wouldn't they love to meet them as well? Hey,
mm.
yeah, 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 it's a canon within a canon. It's a fictional canon. Yeah, it's not another canon.
And Geek Filter says we need a Trek novel to talk about how someone traveled back in time and influenced the Amelia Moon books. I'm sure somebody will do that now. I'm sure somebody will do that.
Well, I mean, if we were an absurd fandom, then you could actually do novels now about who La'an's playing, and novels about if there's generally that much like mass interest, you could totally do that. But I say that, have there been Dixon Hill novels?
I think there might have been actually, yeah.
Yeah, my gut said one as soon as I said that, but I don't think it's not been like a lucrative business because it's a silly thing than a silly thing, but amazing.
Yeah,
but a silly thing.
Rolston S. Bailey, £2.
Thanks so much.
I can overlook canon breaking, giving a great script. Yeah. And it's not really canon breaking. They didn't break the canon. They did a really good job of flexing the canon. They didn't actually break it, I don't think. So
I can't. Like a good script wouldn't help me break canon.
yeah, like Royston, you kind of sound like Steve Shives there a little bit.
Oh well,
don't let canon get in the way of a good story, he says.
Yeah, because the problem with if the best story is more important than canon, then what if a writer 5 years later sees that book that breaks canon and says, "Oh well, they did this, so I can do it because that's now canon." Well, then you've created this like downhill slope of, well, of course the Klingons had cloaks 30 years early. That means we can use it in this story. Oh, but it was a mistake. Oh no, it's canon there. It's like, oh, and now you start. That's why keeping the canon is really important because it grounds everything. Luckily, most writers seem to be able to ignore the bullshit, a la Discovery Klingons, right? It was bad canon. They've moved on from them and never returned. So you can also do that as well, right? It's up to the person.
And Kyle throws in $5 and says, "Sorry to get everyone off topic, but I hope Strange New Worlds starts exploring more Strange New Worlds. Love you guys."
Clearly do, thank you. Hey, these lives are up for you guys to interact with us. If you have a pressing topic, I mean, hey, you might have one night a week. If afraid it happens not be a night with us, and now you're here with us. So you throw it in, and super chats, of course, do whatnot. That's actually an interesting. Before Benjamin's, I've heard this from a few people. Are you annoyed they are not going to Strange New Worlds, and have in fact not gone to any Strange New Worlds yet? How do you feel about this? Because the premise of the show, they've not premised the show, surely. Thoughts?
Doesn't bother me. I know why they called it that. I mean, the first season did do some of that, and that's fine. Sure, I'd like to see more of it, but I just watched an interview from San Diego Comic-Con with Akiva Goldsman and the other producer and some of the cast, and they say like each episode is its own Strange New World because we're exploring different genres that Star Trek necessarily hasn't handled before. So it's a Strange New World, just not in the literal sense. So I'm fine with that. I like the genre stuff. I think I'm looking forward to the Muppet one. I enjoyed the musical just fine. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't necessarily marry with Star Trek, but they do it and they do it well because they got a great cast and good writers. Let's be honest. So yeah, I have no problem with the genre, different genre every episode kind of thing. But yeah, I'm sure we're going to still get some typical Star Trek adventures. Yeah, I guess that answers the question. I don't know.
Yeah, I for the most part agree. I saw Strange New Worlds in Voyager, TNG, TOS, Enterprise, not in Deep Space Nine, but that was never the premise. So if you look, see, the first season was good of the show, but even the ones that are good are often less memorable. In season 2, they pivoted to weird shit, and it often paid off well. Season 3, they're saying even more weird shit, like dedicating, like, we'll just do weird shit, which, like, tonally, they're going all over the place, but they've been at least good. And in fact, the one that was not weird shit, the first one, was the weakest, because they couldn't quite do the hard sci-fi, right? So, what Stranger Worlds niche, I think, is if this continues, right, for this next 2.5 seasons or 20 episodes, whatever, is they've got a show that is fun, is characterful, is standalone with some arc, so you can kind of dip in. You can do both, right? Which is not Discovery, is the, you know, and it utilizes old treks, but also it does do its own, like, it does prioritize its own lore, Holodeck and Gorn, but it does like using the universe versus ignoring it. That's why I think its sort of vibe is. So having it change genre, you know, the first Troy Lane episode was a sort of, not a horror, but like for the time might have more horror, right? This one was a comedy, kind of. Like there's a different tone. And Q obviously had all different tones, but had 7 years to make them. So by utilizing different styles of story, you get to experience what would a zombie be like. And I'm, you know, like, that's interesting, and it's its own niche. So I don't need, now we're at Severus 7 with a plague, and it's just a plague episode. You know, we had that for a lot of years. As long as the individual stories are good, which is obviously not guaranteed, but as long as they are good, then yeah, have a comedy, have a slapstick, have a brutalist, have a dream sequence, you know.
As long as there's a good reason for it.
Yeah.
Like the musical did a good job with the, you know, the improbability field or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly. Which obviously they referenced in this one as well. So I'm hoping it'll be the same.
Well, I referred to the last one, Fighting About Blues, the second episode, actually.
I knew that. So I'm excited and hopeful to see, because, you know, seeing the trailers, they're all using phones. But it might be a great reason, right? Might be a really, really great reason.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the phone one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Benjamin Stone throws in 5 pounds, but
Thanks,
then
Rich.
retracted his message, so I don't know what he's trying to say. And then he retracted another message after that. So if you still want to say what you had in your message or a different worded version, just throw it in the regular chat. And Geek Filter says, I still want to see them go to one of the Hodgkin's law of parallel planetary development planets and get something like Miri or Bread and Circuses. Yeah. Because I get the sense that those planets are closer to Earth.
Yeah.
And as you go out further, that's why you don't see that stuff as much in TNG. So yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, there's got to be some sort of other show on the lot in Toronto that they could, wow, this Victorian show's going, and they'll let us use all, because, you know, we own, like, we can rent their space for a day.
They could use the sets from Murdoch Mysteries. Like, Murdoch Mysteries is on like its 18th season, and it's set in the early 1900s.
Yeah. Because, I mean,
Toronto.
Most companies don't interact that way, but I mean, building all the sets and costumes is very expensive. You just rent them. Then I'd love to see a full period. I love Prime Prejudice personally, big fan of that story and that narrative style. So seeing them do a Prime Prejudice story with their own twist, kind of what they did this week, of course, but like I'd commit to it more. Like you said, a planet. You're right. Have stakes. Holodeck is silly on purpose with the safety protocols, its own stakes. But yeah. Imagine beaming down, and it's literally like a fairy tale book come to life, but like the ground.
They already did that.
Yeah, I know. I was say Prime Prejudice, you know, whatever century come to life, and it's like 1 for 1. And it's fancy and it's ornate, and I don't know who would again Patel. Let's say Patel and Scotty. Everyone loves Scotty's accent because it's very, very foreign. It's like, oh, I'm from the north. Oh, the north. I love the north. Yes, the north. We could, Scotland? And they're like, oh, I thought the North was called Albaden. Oh, yes, Scotland's the third continent, Albanian. There's, you know, interplay, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Rose Kirby asked what time on Friday. It's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. in the UK, so...
Same time for all the lives.
Yeah. And Darren Wagner says, I thought the episode was terrible.
Yeah, why? I think I've heard you say it previously. Because terrible is such a strong phrase. Like, there's so many worse episodes of any Trek.
Well, that's one of the things that bothered me about this episode was I enjoyed it and didn't. The murder mystery aspect of it, I didn't like the costuming, and I didn't like the era, I didn't like the setting.
Fair.
It was all kind of for me. Everything wrapped around it and intertwining with it was, I thought, pretty good. So
Fair. Yeah, I know you've got that as a thing you thought.
yeah.
That is fair.
Three more likes.
Oh.
Three. Whatever. Three more likes to get to 50, guys.
Uno dos tres?
Something like that, sure. Okay.
Yeah, I think for me, if they'd done, and it just seems so, it sounds so pedantic and simple, but just a different design for Holodeck. You know, it's like we had this problem very, very recently of the Academy show looking like Strange New Worlds. It's the same style of set design for a radically different era. Like that affects so many things going down the line. So using verbatim the art design is a fundamental flaw. And I don't know how they could argue that. I think someone said I commented the other day, it's like the wheel, it's not changed. I said it's more like your phone and it has changed. Right? Like a nacelle is a good allegory for a wheel. Nacelles have kept very similar. Right? But not really, but some like, but to say the same, like what has stayed the same in the tech world for 100 years?
FM radio. I don't know.
I was a printing press, but I think printers are a bit different than the printing press.
Yes.
I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, well,
I do know what you mean, yeah.
Nothing has stayed, and it is that distinct parallel because the tech is so different. Like, it kind of makes you appreciate TNG a bit more, because back in the day, they would actively say, "Oh, this is earlier or later. We'll alter things a bit," because if this was the same logic, then yes, as Enterprise would just use the Wrath of Moss Maroons. They wouldn't change it at all. And so would the Stargazer, let's say, or so would Wesley Crusher. Like, they'd all have identical costumes, so in zero change. But they made a point of making differences. Now, were they good differences? They made a point of changing them. Oh, actually, I think it is a probably similar parallel, actually, for LCARs. If TNG had started with Star Trek 6 LCARs, or 5, or at the end of 4, it'd be wrong. Like, you couldn't justify the computers would stay the same for 100 years. It's silly, right? It's silly. Do we have a problem between 6 or 4 and Enterprise C? They're very similar. It'd be nice they're a bit more different, but
well, a lot of things will get stagnant for a good 20, 30 years sometimes, and then all of a sudden have a big leap. And I think LCARs or displays are a perfect example of that. Although we do still see the old movie era LCARs on a lot of the older ships in TNG, but I don't have a problem with that. Honestly, the software underneath it is probably upgraded.
Well, this is why I had a whole long debate with Nick Cook the other day, and we agreed to disagree. He disagreed that I chose to have a episode of Trek Shorts where I had different uniforms, TNG and Voyager specifically, because in his mind he said uniforms were replicated. So as soon as a new pattern comes in, it's emailed to everybody, and every ship updates that day. And there's no reason to have variant uniforms. There shouldn't be. It doesn't make sense. So it would not make sense. And I said, I don't think uniforms are that replicatable. I think they're made of something that's not replicatable, which is why they're not. So it's not that easy.
But did you see Discovery? She replicated a new uniform.
Well, Discovery
right
uniform,
in front of our eyes.
Like a TNG uniform, though. In fairness.
I know.
So I would say, it's made out of something specific, kind of like how you can't photocopy a passport because it uses stuff in it that's not scannable to prove it's real. Like, if you could just replicate perfect Starfleet uniforms, you use it for fraud, right? But checking the correct materials is a way of guaranteeing the real Starfleet, right? So not replicating, so you've physically got to send them. And then he argued that's silly because they replicate everything. He said, well, I mean, they've, TOS, they had quartermasters. Well, that's TOS, okay, fine. But, it makes sense to me. They would, or replicate parts and assemble them, right? Which is why, this is why you don't do it all the time, and why the pattern's just not sent and done. Otherwise, how do you explain ships using them? Why would Earth be using the TNG when DS9 is using Voyager? Earth would always have it first, surely. Right? It just But in my head, the reason is because they was designated the front line of something special, so they were testing the new one first. They got it first, and it's just a slow rollout. It's silly, but yeah, I've never liked to do it. It's instant replicator because that devalues quite a few things. It becomes instant. What do you guys think? I just like
Benjamin. Yeah. Well, Benjamin Stone finally super chatted in with his question. £5. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Was asking if you'd rather watch a Space Adventure Hour or Captain Proton. Was on my phone and didn't have my reading glasses. Love of the 40s. I think you mean. I think you mean would I rather watch The Final Frontier or Captain Proton?
That's a great question.
I would probably rather watch The Final Frontier because they made it enough similar to Star Trek that I love. So I love TOS. So yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean Captain Proton's fun in its own right, but I'd have no problem watching either one of them if I'm honest. If I had to pick, I'd probably say The Final Frontier.
I was an easy Captain Proton. Just I really like the tone. I like anyway Flash Gordon. It's a fun film.
Yeah,
the designs are really good. Like because the 60s of the one we saw yesterday or last week was meant to be silly looking. Captain Proton's meant to be serious looking but cheap.
Yeah.
Like the robot's dumb, but he's an amazing design. Chaotica is like all those designs are really good. They're not silly, but they're cheap. So I would absolutely be down for a black and white joke of that. Personally, I just think that's more cohesive.
Yeah. And Geek Filter corrected me. The Last Frontier. Yes, sorry, not The Final Frontier. The Last Frontier. Sorry.
It's the Voyage, The Last Frontier.
Sean O'Sullivan, €2. Use uniforms for fraud? That's a stupid question. Admiral Patrick, that's a stupid question.
Don't get
it. Deep Space Nine, the augments that are all weird. There's Patrick and the lady, and they come aboard with stolen uniforms. Admiral Patrick's an admiral, and that's how he gets around every situation and gets to where he needs to go because he says that's a stupid question, and nobody wants to argue with an admiral. So yeah, if anybody could replicate a Starfleet uniform, that'd be a problem. So I love the idea that Starfleet uniforms aren't replicatable because all you have to do is steal the replicator pattern, and anybody could pretend to be a Starfleet officer.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's going for with that.
Yeah, and I always thought since they stole them, which is part of the fun, they had to work out a way of stealing. That's why I took that, right?
Oh, and Benjamin Stone says 40s means that I'm old and can't see what I'm typing. I'm 51, so you're not old if you're 40s in your 40s. Come on now.
No, between us and no. And the other caveat, I'll back on Holodecks for a second, Stuart, is I wish it was just a small room. I wish it was a really small room, like a properly small, like 101 test. And ironically, of all the things I would be fine with, open consoles, like open hatchways, pipes, glows, like a sense of working, because it's the part of the Holodeck's charm from TNG is it's an amorphous pattern. You understand their structure, but it's flat, it's two-tone, simple, because it was just tape on a wall. That's all it was. Not. I never knew this until like Trekyards, but it's the shuttle bay set, but they repaint black and put tape on every time. Every single Holodeck episode is a fresh paint and a fresh stripe.
Yeah.
Every single, maybe not every single, like almost every time. So they fully reset it every single time. Isn't that absolutely insane?
Yeah, it is.
Right? Madness. And we think of this iconic thing. It's just tape on a wall, and they just. But that's genius thinking, right? It's such a bold, clever, yet not Tron idea. Because you could say it would date like Tron, but it just doesn't. Right? I don't
Yeah.
know. They were kind of clever back in TNG. Shocking. It's held up quite well.
Yeah. But to make the room much smaller, like we see this shot of the thumbnail here, it's a corner, and they kind of have a low camera angle so you can see how high it is. It's like it's like at least 2 decks tall.
Three.
That's a big chunk.
I would say 3 based on what I remember.
That's a big chunk of the ship that they had to install this in. So yeah, I love the idea of a smaller room, more TOS aesthetic, like goes nowhere, does nothing pipes, like I said multiple times. And those things, those greebly things they put on the wall of the hallways, like one of those in a corner, maybe an open access panel because it's just installed and they're just testing it. So
And if it is just the LED wall, real freaking easy, right? Real freaking easy.
Yeah.
But guys, do you have any final thoughts on Holodeck? We'd love to get another, I'm going to say $7. Would be absolutely tremendous if you can. That's 2 5s, whatever. Would be absolutely splendid. So do you want to read out the poll? Because it's been the whole live, 90 votes. Do you want to read it out?
No.
Well, okay then.
But I will.
Thank you.
What did you think of the Holodeck in Strange New Worlds? The winner is It's Okay with 43%. Second place is Nope, Nope, Nope. Cannon Break, 23%. Didn't like it at 18%. And in last place, Works Great, 16%. So a lot of people are okay with it, like mid, like we said at the beginning of this.
That exactly reflects what you said at the start. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got to give them kudos for the way they handled it. Because like I said, it was a minefield and they could have definitely misstepped. They didn't. And yeah, they didn't necessarily break canon. They just flexed it a little bit. And that's fine. It's the writing that says certain things and then the writing that doesn't say anything that really balances well. And as we've talked about, it's they could have cemented things with certain lines of dialogue that they didn't do one way or the other. And it creates this kind of situation where we're doing a live talking about it, generates conversation and discussion, sometimes arguments and disharmony in the fan base, but still we're talking about it. So yeah, I think they did good.
Yeah, it could have been better, but
could have been much worse too.
Could have been much worse, exactly. And they certainly tried.
Yeah.
To piss off some people, but not everyone. Just some. You know what? Some is half the battle.
What?
No, not quite.
Marcus P, €2.
Thank you.
Thanks for the discussions. Anytime. That's why we do these lives. Love hanging out with like-minded Trekkies talking about the stuff we love. So,
including disagreeing with us, because we do like to have those fiery, but not that fiery, discussions, debates.
And Classic for Real chimes in with $2. Never fear, Fleet Paw is it's Classic for Real. Thank you.
That's the first time I've done that joke. I feel like you should do that joke more often. That's a good joke. Well, like everyone's super chat $2 saying, "Everyone fear, Fleet Paw is not here." That's like
run, screaming.
That's how we end each live. He's not here. Flee, flee.
Geek Filter says just changing the name would have fixed the majority of issues. Yeah, absolutely. And the first mention of it is by Pike, the recreation room, and then it's trounced on by Holodeck for the rest of the episode by multiple characters.
Or similar vein, do exactly what they did, and after the Holodeck reference, have someone say, "No, that won't stick."
Holodeck? Seriously? No, that doesn't work.
Just a disagreement, so it's not the standard phrase. Because then it would be kind of funny if this would be being great if Scotty calls it the Rec Room because he's on the wrong side of history, and Uhura calls it Holodeck because she thinks it's catchier, and they keep saying the wrong thing to each other, and it's like that's how they're referring to it, and they're both not wrong, but like there's a disconnect because people aren't there yet, right?
According to the file and Pike, according to the file I have in my hand, it's a recreation room. That's the official name. Yeah.
Or even you could even go stupid and have somebody say, "I think it should be called a Holotech Room."
Yeah.
Like a wrong name, and that's the name for the whole episode. It's like, okay, well that didn't stick.
Or a holo imaging room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a simulation chamber. Like something dumb, and it's like so this particular version is called a simulation chamber. The rec room is the environmental simulator. The simulation chamber is it works perfectly except it doesn't, and the holodeck is it works perfectly and actually does.
And then there's the battle simulator, which is
Go to hell.
what we see in Star Trek 2.
Double dumbass one. And then
Recreation or recreation? It's recreation room. Classic. Recreation.
Is he being
room.
himself again?
Well, he's got a super chat of $5, so thank you.
Okay.
Still minus 1,701 out of 10 for no Jonathan Frakes on camera, with the beard being the chef asking about the USS Pegasus. Well, just him not being there. He could have been the dead body. Would have been awesome if he was the dead body. It would have been awesome if he was one of the stage hands that comes in to rescue the girl falling through the view screen. We hear his voice a few times, but just to see him as the director of the Last Frontier show would have been awesome.
Yep.
Geek Filter says the hollow imaging room. Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
The holographic tech deck room.
But
perfect.
But there is something though about, we've been brutalized by all the canon changes of the last decade, that we're accepting this as being mostly fine.
Yep.
Because we know it could, should, and was worse.
Yep. Stockholm Syndrome's a bitch.
That was the word. Yep.
Anyway, guys.
Yep.
I think we're going to wrap it up there.
Yep.
I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. It's been a great discussion. Thank you to Geek Filter for being here as kind of a special guest. He's kind of knowledgeable on this stuff, so
he knows a thing, 2 or 3 even. I know.
Join us tomorrow for another live, and then Thursday for my first reaction, Friday for a complete breakdown. We got a whole week full of stuff for you guys, as always.
We do tend to, and this next one has Colby back, has the brother back, and has some sort of...
I haven't even looked at it yet, so I don't know.
And has ancient ruins of some kind. So that's the...
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Well, we'll see you guys in the future then. So until next time, he's Commander Cockings.
He's got a Foley.
Bye, everybody.